The fuck do I have water? Can I have NeuroPowerLift? Anyone? Please? Thank you. That's more like it. Cheers. All right, now we can get started. Hi guys, my name is Sebastian Felice. I am the founder and CEO of NeuroPowerLift, the most science-based supplement brand in the entire world. Welcome to the first official NeuroPowerLift FAQ video. Today we're going to be going over the science behind NeuroPowerLift and why it's different from other pre-workouts and why it works the way that it does.
First question, what makes NeuroPowerLift different from other pre-workouts?
Right, so to answer this question, first let's define what exactly was the formula designed for. So NeuroPowerLift was designed for the sport of powerlifting. For those of you that aren't familiar with powerlifting, it's essentially a sport where you're judged off your totals off of the main three compound exercises. So there's the squat, the bench, and the deadlift. And for those of you that don't know, I am myself a retired powerlifter. Funny that I say retired because I'm only 20 years old, but I essentially retired because I was competing mostly in Switzerland, and over there, maybe just by pure coincidence, but every single powerlifting federation that I lifted for was completely unregulated. So you could imagine, 16-year-old me getting absolutely wrecked in every single competition that I went for. So I had this idea, you know what? Let me make a pre-workout that at least maybe will give me some type of edge in the powerlifting ring. So now that that has been clearly defined, let's actually go into the science behind NeuroPowerLift and how it works. Before we get into the science behind NeuroPowerLift, I think it's important that I put my glasses on. It's about to get real sciencey here. So essentially, the way that I made NeuroPowerLift was I based it off the ATP-PC system. ATP, if you don't know what it is, then you failed second grade, but PC part, that means phosphocreatine. What is the ATP-PC system? It's essentially the body's way of releasing the most explosive and fastest energy that you can release in any given sport. That's why it goes extremely well for powerlifting, because how long does a maximum lift really last for? 2 seconds? If it lasts more than 6 seconds, you're going to die, you're going to pass out. So imagine this. What's ATP? It's adenosine triphosphate. You got an adenosine molecule, phosphate molecule, and then 2 more phosphate molecules. That's why it's ATP, tri, meaning 3 phosphate molecules. And the way that it works is essentially, you imagine that bond. They're all connected by little bonds next to each other. Once you're actually performing the task and your body is requiring that amount of short burst explosive energy, one of the phosphate molecules is going to release and explode. And when that happens, there's a release of energy. And then the only way for ATP to now go from ADP, adenosine diphosphate, because remember now there's only 2 phosphate molecules, back to ATP, another phosphate molecule that's circulating in your blood needs to then come back and join it again. So how do we get another phosphate molecule faster? So we add more phosphate into your body. If you have more phosphocreatine in your body, you can replenish that ATP way faster. And that's how I designed the NeuroPowerLift. Essentially, the more phosphocreatine, creatine monohydrate in this case, that you have in your body, the faster you're going to be able to produce more explosive, fast ATP energy. So in terms of the actual formula, what's in here, we have creatine monohydrate, malic acid, which is what helps that replenishing of the phosphocreatine kinase system happen faster. So I have added those ingredients in there. In terms of your brain functionality in this formula, I've added something called Huperzine A, which essentially all that it does is it sustains that mind-muscle connection more. So when you're actually lifting weights, you can really feel your muscles and you can get a pump very easily. And now lastly, the secret ingredient to this formula is pink Himalayan sea salt. So what does pink Himalayan salt do? It essentially, not only obviously, you get more hydrated because of the electrolytes, but also it acts as a nitric oxide booster, meaning your veins are going to vasodilate, meaning that they get bigger. So when your veins get bigger, that means more blood flow can actually flow to the muscles that you're working, and you can sustain more reps and you'll get a pump faster, because now that you have more blood flowing to your muscles, that essentially means there's more oxygen flowing to your muscles. So now you can oxidize lactic acid even faster. So essentially, now that your veins are bigger, they've vasodilated, you can actually withstand more lactic acid buildup in your muscles because you're getting more oxygen into that muscle. So the more lactic acid buildup, the bigger the pump you're going to have. This tastes amazing, by the way.
Will NeuroPowerLift help me with endurance too?
Yes, but in a slightly different way. While primarily NeuroPowerLift is designed for short bursts of energy, like we talked about before for powerlifting, the malate citrate cycle actually enhances the oxidative, system downstream. That basically means, quicker recovery of that ATP molecule between sets, which then allows you for more volume total in your entire workout. This is a tropical fruit punch flavor, by the way. Just look at that color.
Am I going to get a crash from the caffeine you put in?
Well, essentially, no, you're not going to get a crash, and I'll tell you exactly why. First reason is the type of caffeine that we use is very particular to most types of caffeine that you'll find in pre-workout. A lot of people will just, normally put in natural caffeine. We use caffeine anhydrous, which is a lab-made caffeine that's extremely exact and not variable at all, and you're going to get the same feeling every time. That's why you see some people, they're so addicted to drinking, normal coffee, espressos. Sometimes they drink it, hits them like a truck for 15 minutes, and then they're, on the toilet going to sleep, pooping themselves to sleep. So the next thing is the dosing of the caffeine, if it's going to give you a crash or not. So on average, most other pre-workout brands use between 300 to 375 milligrams of caffeine in their servings. And that's a pretty high number, especially for most people that are not used to taking caffeine. So what we did is in NeuroPowerLift, we put only 200 milligrams of caffeine, and that really is a very decent amount. And especially because we used that specific caffeine anhydrous, component of caffeine, you're not going to get a crash, you're not going to get those tingles, and you're not going to fall asleep right after your workout. It's a very nice come down, and it's a great introductory pre-workout for people that have never taken a pre-workout before. Now, that being said, if you double scoop this thing, you're going to get going.
What would you say are the 3 biggest differences with NeuroPowerLift in comparison to other pre-workouts?
So the 3 biggest things that I would say are, number 1, there are no tingles, no crash, and you don't get an upset stomach. So essentially, how does this work? So the tingles, they come from something that's called beta-alanine. NeuroPowerLift has none of that. It's not necessary. 90% of people hate the tingles, so I just got rid of it fully. The next part is the crash. Like I mentioned earlier, the crash is usually because of some natural caffeine variant that people are using in pre-workout. NeuroPowerLift, like I mentioned before, caffeine anhydrous. You're not going to get the crash. Also, it's a very small dose, so you're not going to get a crash from that. Next is the upset stomach. The upset stomach is also a result of the natural caffeine that other pre-workout brands use, and it's a result of the extremely high dosages. So you won't get any jitters, crash, or you won't be running to the bathroom before you lift.
Is NeuroPowerLift safe for daily use?
Oh yeah, of course. And honestly, I recommend NeuroPowerLift for daily use. That's why I put creatine monohydrate in it. Aren't you sick of putting creatine in water and having to drink it on its own? No, I put it in there so that you can take it every single day. The caffeine amount is low enough. By the way, can I get a refill? The caffeine amount is low enough so that you can take it every day and you're not going to build up a crazy high tolerance. And you get your creatine in every single day, please. Shit tastes really good. A little bit more, a little bit more. All right. Great.
How long does it take for NeuroPowerLift to kick in?
So NeuroPowerLift typically takes 15 to 20 minutes to kick in, and that's just predominantly because of the caffeine. So what I recommend doing is drinking it for about 15 minutes before your workout, and then walking to the gym, finishing off the last couple sips, and you'll get it going pretty fast.
Does NeuroPowerLift cause water retention or bloating?
No, NeuroPowerLift does not cause water retention or bloating, and some people are a bit skeptical about it because they notice that creatine monohydrate is in there, and that's a common misconception with creatine monohydrate. It does not cause bloating or water retention. It only causes, intramuscular hydration into the muscles. So there's only going to be water being held in your muscles, not actually under your skin. So what it's going to do is it's not going to make you look fat. You're going to have bigger looking muscles. And because your muscles are bigger and filled with more things, they have more leverage so that they can lift heavier weights. That's why people always say, if you're on creatine, if you could lift 5 reps before without it, you'll be able to squeeze in an extra 2 to 3 reps. So in short, no, it's not going to cause any bloating or water retention.
Does NeuroPowerLift enhance mind-muscle connection?
So NeuroPowerLift does enhance your mind-muscle connection. It does that by essentially increasing your brain's ability to send a message to your muscles to contract faster and stronger. So you'll have a way more intense feeling of a mind-muscle connection.
Where is NeuroPowerLift and NeuroZym products manufactured?
Right here in the USA, baby.
In terms of flavor, how does NeuroPowerLift rank against other pre's in the market?
In terms of flavor, listen, I know I'm biased, obviously, but I've tried, if not maybe 20 different types of pre-workout brands over my entire lifting career, and the NeuroPowerLift and all of the NeuroZym products are beyond a doubt the most, and I mean the most flavorful and the most smooth tasting pre-workouts that I've ever tried in my entire life. I mean, just look what these people have to say.
Say, bro, I've been taking pre-workouts since I was 19. I just turned fucking 30. It's just the best tasting I've ever had. We're like fucking, compared to the popular brands, this is my favorite so far.
Mm-hmm.
And normally I have booked up. We have booked up.
Yeah,
I'm gonna taste this and compare it. Cheers. That's fire. That's
Alright.
actually fire.
This is the blue raspberry. Damn.
This one was tropical
Blue
fruit.
it tastes like raspberry. It tastes
Fire.
like damn.
Fire.
It's
Let me
really
try that.
like,
Let me
it's
try
like,
that.
I expected it to be like rougher, but like it's smooth. Like it's really good.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Bucked up is hella. Bucked up is hella like
Yeah, what is it?
sour and it
That's
makes
kiwi
me like
lime?
make a face. Like I'm being so serious.
Yeah.
You guys try kiwi lime. That one's our favorite one.
This one's extra. That one's extra smooth. Yeah.
You boys want some free?
It's 6.
Yeah, this one's fire. So what would you rate
And that's also something that we really pride ourselves in NeuroZym, not just being, the most science-based and efficacious supplements on the market, but also the best tasting ones. So is there any more questions?
No, we're all good. Thank you for joining us.
Thank God. I'm going to go get a good pump. Thank you for tuning into the science behind NeuroPowerLift, and I'll see you when I review NeuroNitric.